welcome to another edition of Softcover, where we launch some interesting non-fiction books. I am Yuthika Bhargava, and today we have with us Mr. Manu Patolia, who has spent his very inspiring life story in this book called From the Village to the World.
Very good.
This book talks about how he landed in the US in 1969 with just 75 cents, his struggles, and then how he managed to build an empire worth $250 million. We will speak to him how he managed to do that. And so, welcome, Mr. Patolia.
Yeah, how are you, Yuthika?
I
Good
am very
morning.
good. Good evening to you. Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. Yeah, my pleasure.
Mr.
Yes.
Patolia. Yeah, Mr. Patolia, before we get to your journey, what inspired you to first pen this book?
Well, I was thinking that because I was the first to come to USA from my small village and even surrounding villages, plus from the Gurukul. And what I went through the initial hardship, so I wanted to pen down for my grandchildren, and I want them to see how it was and how it is now, and so my future generations can know that how we got settled, how we migrated to USA, and how we got settled in USA. Also, they can appreciate what they got. That was because of the book. Meanwhile, when I found the book writer, Mr. Kailash Mota, and also the publisher, Mr. Praveen Tiwari, he prompted me and saying that, why don't you publish this book if it can change a few people's that would be worth doing it. And that's what I agreed to him, and that's where we are. So that's how I came to have a book published.
Okay. Mr. Patolia, in the book, you also talk about how at just age of 12, you decided what you wanted to be, and it was a construction contractor, especially in a village where nobody had actually got any education beyond standard 3. So why construction contractor? How did that idea came to you? And how did this whole idea of getting educated come to you in a surrounding where not much was available?
From childhood, I was a very curious person. I always wanted to know new things. Always started getting experimenting. Meanwhile, there was a dam construction nearby Taravada, my village, about 1 kilometer
Okay.
north of the Taravada. And I used to go over there and that was during my sixth grade when I was studying in sixth grade. So I go over there and I liked the people working over there. There were so many people, about 300-400 people were working, big equipments and rolling around, no sound, and also big zigger pumps diverting the water from the river to where the dam construction was going on. So that all excited me, enthralled me, and I thought this may be the right thing to do for. I felt that I'd like to do something like this. I
Hmm.
loved it. Plus, the engineer working over there, the deputy engineer, he was getting so much respect from the villagers while he's over there, and I like that part also. And that's what
Hmm.
made me think to go into the construction company. And I thought at that time that to become a contractor, I must have a civil engineering degree. That's how I wanted to get BS in my civil engineering. And that's what but this is what I started from there. I never gave up, never turned back. I worked to get up to that point until I decided not to go back and get into the construction company.
Mr. Patolia, I would also like to talk about your time in India. How do you remember your time in India with your family here? And then when you went to US, what was the contrast? How did you manage to adjust to? I'm sure culturally it would have been different.
That's a good
Everything was
question. Yeah,
different.
yeah. I had a very joyful childhood, very happy, joyful, and Taroda being on a bank of the river, so Setruji River water was flowing year round, and I used to go and swim in the river, lie down on a sand and play with my friend Vittal. We used to
Hmm.
lie down in the moon light in the evenings, and that was a really memorable thing for me. Also, I my father was doing the farming, so I used to in my spare time and my vacations, I used to go and help him in the farm. We had all kind of sugar canes and papayas and plantations, a lot of fruit trees at our farm. That was there. And meanwhile, also I used to sit in front of my mom while she was cooking, and there was chula. You may have seen chula. So in chula, I
Hmm.
used to have to put the indran in there. So I would help her and talk with her in my vacation time. So that's how I learned how to cook by seeing her cooking. So
Hmm.
when I came to America, it became very handy for me. But that cooking tricks I learned from her. But overall, my childhood was very nice. My father was a middle class, or that good. It had good. We had good living. Also, my father had a horse, male
Hmm.
horse, and female horse, and very sharp. I learned how to do horse riding, and that was the best time of my life. I became an equestrian and good horse rider. From there, as maybe we can talk about a little bit once I came here in
Hmm.
America. So when I came here, first day when I landed and went with that financial issues and all these things, and when I was with that apartment 303 on 776 Gary Street, that was my first day, first night over there. After coming, I thought, why did I come here? I didn't shouldn't have come. That was my first impression.
Hmm.
Finally, I went to the Texas A&M, and initial part was I was very lonely. There was nobody's here. I never seen sari worn. I mean, a sari worn lady. I did not eat bread. I mean, roti 3 years. There was a financial issues plus loneliness. That was a challenge for me. But after a while, still I managed the way I finished my schooling, and I got my BS degree from one of the very highly reputable school over here, Texas A&M University. At the time, it was top 10 universities of USA. So that was a good part of it.
So, we talked about your childhood. Now I want to know the story of how come you landed and you just had 75 cents. How did that happen?
That is just a question everybody asks me all along. Many people have asked me. All my grandchildren say, "How Dada, how did you make it in 75 cents?" So when I left India, at the time exchange was given only $8. I have
Okay.
to I have to manage myself all the and whatever dollar required. So what I made a arrangement with my son, my father, my brother-in-law's friend was in USA, and so my father will give his father in rupees, and this gentleman, his name was Yogesh Bhatt. He
Hmm.
will give in dollars. We at the time there was no phone call, so we made the telegram and just thought that he would get the telegram and I will get the money when I land here. By the time I landed here, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, San
Hmm.
Francisco, and at that time, I couldn't understand currency, U.S. currency. I cannot converse in English properly. I was brand
Hmm.
new, completely unknown to the America. So I had a 50 cent. I had $8 50 cents I spent in postage while I was in plane. I wrote some letters, and I had a $7.50 in my pocket. So I kept the change. I wouldn't understand, dime and you know all the currency over here. So one American guy, I left when I put the money in my palm, and he took a 10 cents and made a collect call to Yogesh Bhatt. At the time, I came to know that Yogesh Bhatt is 400 miles away. I'm in San Francisco, and he was in Los Angeles. So he said, He said, I'm this far away. I don't have the money. I don't have the job. He was writing to his father incorrectly. That was the problem. So that way, I said, what should I do? He said, go to the YMCA. I said, what is YMCA, where it is, how to get there? He explained me all these things. Finally, I managed to get the bus
Hmm.
down San Francisco. And after reaching over there, so I spent $50 for bus. So that left me $6.
Hmm.
From bus station, I took a taxi to go to YMCA. I spent 75 cents over there for taxi. And then after left $5.25. And when I approached to the desk clerk, he said, pay $4.50 now. I said, can I pay you tomorrow? He says, no. He says, you have to pay now, otherwise I can't give you key. So I paid $4.50 over there and left 75 cents in my hand. I put a bag in a hotel room, and with the 75 cents in pocket, I said, well, what should I do now?
Hmm.
That's how I got 75 cents story started from there. So I said, okay, let me see if embassy can help me, Indian embassy. So I was going, start coming out. I just put a bag and I came out, walking on street. There was Market Street in San Francisco. So one American guy asked him, where is the embassy? That's what conversed with him. He says, 2 blocks away, 2 blocks away. That was just. So I said, something looks like it's close by, yeah. Well, I was in
Hmm.
what is blocks. So by the time I was walking towards the embassy, one Indian guy was walking other side of the street. He came towards me and he shook my hand and I told him my story. What is exactly happening. So he says, well, you don't go to embassy, go to your school. And he put his hand in his pocket and he says, I have $8. You take it. So that was a miracle that he gave me $8. I went to the school and from there I think you need to read my book.
Yes, I have read the book a little bit, and you you have also talked about in the book how you wanted to inspire people to pursue their dreams like you did. But you successfully made the American dream, as we call it. Today, if somebody wants to do that, how do you think the American dream has changed? How easy or difficult has it become now than when you did it?
Tell you the truth, I was not going to stay here ever. When, I stayed here, and in my mind, according to me, you can have opportunities either in India or here. It is all person has to create the opportunities. Opportunity doesn't come to them.
Hmm.
So for me, because I lived over here, I stayed here, and initially it was difficult part. And so I finished my master's, bachelor's, and I decided to go back to India and set up my own construction company. And went through the no Nirman rights and all other things. And I can see that India was tilting towards the socialistic system. I said, well, if I go from democracy to socialistic system and something that won't fit with my business dream. And second thing is a lot of rights, and India was far behind than what we see now. So
Hmm.
finally, I decided 1 month I just pulled my hair and I kept thinking about, and I gave up my childhood dream. And while I was in India, I was going in India, I was knowing exactly what I'm going to do. While
Hmm.
I decided to stay here, it was very hard for me to find out what kind of business I should do. I spent a lot
Hmm.
of time exploring and exploring. That is I lost a lot of time, but it taught me good lesson.
Hmm.
So that I tell young entrepreneurs that the first thing is to explore, decide yourself what you like to be in your life, explore properly. Don't just rush into that. Allow some time. And while you are working or keep doing that on a side, you keep exploring a business opportunity, business, because anybody who want to do the business, they have to learn many things, how to manage the business, how to hire people, how to manage people, all kind of things. So they can learn all those things while they're working on a side.
Hmm.
Once they get ready, they have cash capital, some at least minimum what it requires, and then they can jump into the business. So they are fully prepared. Without preparation, people they get into business and they finally fail. So I just tell them just prepare yourself and have a confidence in yourself. So confidence without confidence it will fail again.
Hmm.
And 90% of the time it doesn't happen, things doesn't happen the way you want. So once a hurdle comes, they give up and they get becomes a failures. Once it becomes failures, one failure, second failure, and third failure, they lost their confidence. They can't do anything. So they become frustrated. All these things, and things will go down in their life. So that's why I said, don't give up. Keep going. There is always time changes. You keep, exploring new ideas, new things, and finally it happens. If you stick to your ideas, it will happen. That's what I did in my life. Because I always have once I decide, I don't give up.
Yeah.
How many hurdle comes on a way, I just try to manage it. Management is to manage those hurdles. Otherwise, once you fail, it will lose you. It can hurt you very badly. So that's what I advice I can give. And also there is so many things can be done in things, but you have to have your own personal courage how to do it. Now people they are tend to stay in a box. If I am a civil engineer, I can do only civil engineering. I am no, I'm accountant, I can do only accountant. But I can say that your brain is like a dove, and you can shape it the way you want to shape it. But you have to come out of that box.
Hmm.
For me, I am a civil engineer. I did PC board manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, all these things because there is no limit for me. So that's why anybody want to get into business, there is unlimited scopes available, but they have to come out and have a courage to venture it. Now, when you starting is a very they be very resistant to start. Once you start, you get all kind of help in a way, and things move. That is my experience. When I started, I am by myself, my God,
Hmm.
very little knowledge of that business, but I learn all those things. People comes, customer comes, everything comes. Many people they say, okay, if I start, where the customer will come, where the people will come, everything comes. That's my experience. But you have courage to start it.
Hmm.
So what it is. Then after, I can tell them, that's I call it formula for success.
Yeah.
In that, there's first is burning desire. Person has to have burning desire to make it. Unless they are sharp and burning desire, they can't focus in the things what they want to do it. Second is persistence. It's like a spider. When spider makes a beautiful web, nobody knows how many times he has fallen down. So by going on a way to do a business, you may have a lot of setbacks, lot of frustrations, but you don't give up. They're like a spider. A spider never gives up.
Yeah.
And he makes a beautiful web. And so that's how I consider it is a persistence you have to keep going. Third thing is the hard work. Nothing happens without hard work. Person has to work hard. He has to, without looking column. I mean, the business is like a 24-hour things. And it has a reward and punishment both. The reward is that, 1% uh, of the population owns 66% of the wealth of the world. That's why it is, those who got successful, they have a lot of benefit to that. So that is the hard working. Then fourth is honesty. Without honesty, you have to be honest by yourself to yourself and honest to others. To anybody whomever you deal with, and that goes a long way. And fifth is the faith in a God. Most important thing, faith in God. I tell my grandchildren, everybody must have a faith in God because the things happen beyond our control. Unexpected calamities come, or setback comes. What holds you is a faith in God. Just pray to God. Those who praise the God is they pray. Otherwise, those who are the vices, like who goes to the drink, they will drink more. Good, good news and bad news. They do the both ways. They drink more or eat more or smoke more or pray more.
Hmm.
So praying is doesn't harm you anything, doesn't hurt you, but also allow you time to find a solution. So faith is very important in a life, and that way it has a person has a emotion, his or her emotion remains balanced. So that is what it is. And now self-confidence, person has to have a self-confidence. Now self-confidence can be built it up. I tell people that you may have some self-confidence, but you need to look your weaknesses and strength.
Hmm.
I used to do all along. So weaknesses, I mean, strength, what is good part of yourself. But either in your personal weaknesses, your business weaknesses, or whatever you do around surrounding weaknesses, once you recognize your weaknesses, you always find a way to strengthen them. As you strengthen your weaknesses, you become more and more stronger and more confident. That helps you with making your decisions and move things forward. That's what.
Get it.
And I just tell them, will there is a way and keep going. Just start it. It will
Yeah.
happen.
Mr. Patolia, you have also like this theme is also very recurring in your book, Never Give Up. You
I,
have emphasized
no,
it a lot, never give up. But was there any time, like, what kept you motivated? Was there any time you thought you were close to giving up? And then what kept you motivated to not give up?
yeah. Once I am very focused, remain very focused on my goals, and until it happens, I don't give up.
Hmm.
It always happened, God willing.
Good.
Anything I started, I never have failed, God
Huh.
willing, and thank God. But that's what my strength is. As I may take sometimes take longer, maybe months and months or even a year, 2 years. I have patience. Once I start, that's what I tell everybody: don't give up. You keep going. You have I had always income basis or other side businesses or my job was going on, so I was not desperate. So once you become desperate, then you lose your confidence and time. Then you become the failure. Always I have two things going together. So that way, while I'm exploring the business, my job was running. When I have businesses going on, then I explore some other businesses because if this business goes down, I have
Hmm.
something else going on. So when I sold my PC board business in '98 it was very good business, very profitable business. And suddenly Russia war, the Cold War was over in '98, and I had military approvals and I was doing PC board for U.S. defense, and so I thought this would be a time to get out because military market will go down. So
Hmm.
meanwhile, I already started this nutrition supplement business. So from here to there, right away, because I knew things this sliding down, so I started exploring something else, and immediately I jumped into that. And that's where I both businesses in all the businesses I made done day one I made them profitable.
Hmm.
And always I don't, I remain very price conscious. I don't give them cheap, but I give them a quality product. So I always remain affluent and and strong in financial strength. So that's how my philosophy of doing business is.
Mr. Patolia, have you gone back to the village since? Do you visit often?
I go once a year at least.
Oh.
During the COVID, I did not go for a couple of years, but otherwise I always go once a year or twice a year.
Hmm.
And I have a lot of contacts over there because of that. I belong to the Swaminam Gurukul
Hmm.
organization. So I have it is a big connection everywhere. Wherever I go, they can roll a red carpet for me, and
Hmm.
all they are also more than family for us. Every former students of Rajkot Gurukul where I was studying at the time.
Mr. Patolia, in the book, you also say you are now at the peak of your successful life, but what is next for you?
Next, maybe I'm getting close to 80 now. 79. This March 20, I will start 79. So I just want to maybe slow down a little. I have business running, so I maybe pay a little bit attention over there and spend some time in. I like meditation, so I do spend some time in meditation, exercising, things like that, and also remain involved with my Gurukul activities.
Hmm.
That will, yeah. So I'm
Is-
very much fond of the Gurukul. I'm in the process of building Gurukul branch over here in California, which will
Okay,
be within a short time, so I can go there and remain involved a little bit. So it allows me to spend some time and stay out of it. Go outside. Yeah.
great. Thank you, Mr. Patolia. On that note, we would end this interview and we would request our viewers to please go and read this book,
Okay. Thank you.
get to know more about Mr. Patolia's inspiring journey.